All right, y'all. We got another episode of Deep Talk. What's your name and where y'all from?
I'm the Reverend Justin Capps, and I'm a native of Rogers, Arkansas, and now live in Smyrna, Delaware. And this is my life cohort, Sonya Cobb, RN. She's a nursing supervisor. Sorry. And
I'm from Delaware.
Yeah, she's native of Delaware.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say it wrong. So every time I say it wrong. So I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and say it first, and then hopefully I'll be able to say it correctly. What is it that y'all do? What is it that
We are the founders of the OSUARY, Inc. We are a federally licensed 501c3 nonprofit organization that rescues medical specimens. Some people found organizations that rescue puppies and kittens. I rescue dead people.
how long have you been doing that for?
Just over 5 years now.
How you get started doing that? What made you want to rescue specimens?
Quite a few years ago, Sonya worked in hospice, and we did a lot of traveling and dealt with a lot of death. And in our travels, we began collecting old medical equipment and stuff because we were establishing a medical collection, a medical museum was what our ideal was at the time.
Right.
And just old machines and medicine and tools and stuff. And we had all kinds of it that we had accumulated over the years. And one day on our journeys, we come across a teaching skull, a human teaching skull named Tyler that was in a glass case, who you can't see off camera, but is sitting over there. That was sitting on a storefront that we used to frequent and buy our old medical tools. And he wasn't for sale or anything. He belonged to the owner, but he was still sitting in a storefront. And being a person that I am, I had some religious objections to seeing him sitting in a storefront. And Sonya as well.
Tyler wanted to come home with me.
Didn't think that it was the right place, and Sonya felt that Tyler wanted to come home with her. She just had the strong energy that Tyler was supposed to come home.
Okay.
But he wasn't for sale or any of that. And I'm not okay with the buying and selling of human remains, so it wasn't even something that was on the table for us.
Okay.
2 years went by where we stopped in this store every month when we'd stop by our corporate office and drop our paperwork off for the hospice corporation we're working for. And this store was near there, so we'd stop in. And over a course of 2 years, we became friends with the owner and, of course, Tyler. And then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, Sonya had just left hospice and had changed her job to something a little bit more focused on people who needed care right now over a long-term period. And the owner had to close his store down, of course, because of COVID. And we had stopped by to see him one day after he had closed, and maybe they were struggling a little bit financially, not having any kind of income. And I offered to give him some money on a friendship loan. And in exchange, he had to let me bring Tyler back to my house so Tyler would not sit in the store anymore. Now, this was not a purchase for Tyler. And the day he had my money back, he could come get Tyler. Because this was, like I said, not a purchase. This was just strictly a friendship loan, and because of the sum of cash it was, I would feel more comfortable if he did something he wasn't comfortable doing. Giving up his friend. Which he did, and he told me one day he would come back for Tyler. Now, mind you, this was a little over 5 years ago. So we brought Tyler back here and stuck him in the center of our medical collection with all of our medicines and stuff. And then Sonya's like, I would really like an old teaching skeleton like you would see in a doctor's office or a university or something in a classroom. I would really like to have one of those for the medical collection.
Hanging in the corner.
Yeah, so
just one.
I was like, fair enough, this shouldn't be something too hard to do. She has a medical license, so we can contact a medical distributor that deals in supplies and osteology and stuff, and sign up with them, and then maybe we can get you one that way. And we did. We signed up with a biological company and, submitted her medical license information and all that stuff so they could verify her. And then they sent us a price list starting at $15,000 for a skeleton. And I'm like, I'm not paying $15,000. Yeah, I said, I'm not paying $15,000 for someone that donated their body to science. Maybe you guys have a broken one or something that I can repair that you will donate to us, since we're going to we're federally licensed as a museum, basically, we're legit. Maybe you can donate one to us instead and we'll repair it. They weren't trying to hear that either. They all wanted an insane amount of money, even just for individual bones, anything. And morally, I couldn't justify it. So I had a dream one night while I was asleep that was kind of like the book of Ezekiel. And I'm not going to make this a religious thing, but there is a chapter in Ezekiel that tells us when you find a man's bones upon the side of the road that you place a sign upon it so that the keepers of Hamagog can come and retrieve them and give them their final rest. And my dream was something very similar to that. It was very powerful, and it told me, that human bones already exist, not up on the side of the road in the context that, you'd think of in biblical terms, but they are. We drive past them every day going down the road. And I don't mean in cemeteries. I mean in buildings such as doctor's offices and storefronts.
People's houses.
Funeral homes even that have had them and have closed down. Cremated remains that weren't even fully processed yet and the funeral homes have closed down. Hospitals that have went out of business. They have these things. Fraternal organizations have them sitting in their closet where they've rescued them. And these are all places that you drive past every day, and these bones exist, and here they are. Why is somebody not rescuing these or doing something about these while they're not being used? Let me reach out to people that may have this stuff and see if maybe they want to work with us on doing something different. So I did. I sent out thousands of emails. I stayed up days sending emails and doing the research to find the people that may have these kind of things sitting in their storage. And I found bunches of them. Some people weren't interested in working with us, which is understandable. Some people said they would do it for like $5,000, which once again, I'm back to I'm not giving you money for someone's remains that you have sitting in a storage room. And then I found a lady who had several of them sitting in her storage room that she herself had gotten from other doctors that had retired and stuff. And they had been taking them and sticking them in coffins because they didn't know where else to do with them and sticking them in their storage room. And they've been there for like the last 75, 80 years. And they didn't know what to do. And they didn't want to sell them. They couldn't throw them away. They didn't want to do any of that stuff. And they wanted a solution. And I'm like, well, I have a solution. These are old medical specimens. Donate them to me, and I will begin cleaning them and repairing them, and then I will loan them back to students and artists and educational institutions that may want to use real human bone or want to do a study on one, or someone who shoots photography. These people gave their bodies for the advancement of science and education, not to sit in a storage closet somewhere forgotten in time.
So if somebody wanted to use something that you have, one of your bone, one of your specimens that you have, you will allow that?
Within reason, yes. Well, send me an email and tell me what you want to do. I mean, I still have to respect the fact that these are prior living humans, and I honor their existence and the fact that they are even in the situation that they are. So while I want to support the arts and education to the best of my ability and to the fullest, and I promise to do so, I still have limitations on what I'm willing to do with them. Because as I said, they're still prior living beings. I'm not going to let you come in here and desecrate them and cut their bones up or modify their bones in such a way to cause them damage. I'm not going to let you burn things on them or do anything like that with them. I'll let you hold one. I'll let you take photographs with it. I will let you place bones in such a manner with other objects, as long as it's not a religious kind of photo. I don't want the bones being used in satanic looking imagery or anything that could be construed in such a manner. But if it's a tasteful photograph for educational purposes, or say you're a Gothic photographer and you have a client that wants to dress up like Morticia and take a photo holding a skull, I would allow that, because it's artistic, creative expression. And I'm okay with that. And I'm the only... Huh?
Have you had people do that?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Photographers love to come through here. We're very popular with photographers.
I'm laughing.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I can imagine people want to add put prop skeletons, especially Gothic. Not to say nothing crazy, but
Yeah, and
see,
we don't allow them for horror imagery either. So if you were trying to shoot a horror movie or something, we wouldn't allow that because we don't use them for movie props or anything in those regards either. They're not
actors. My next question. I was gonna ask y'all, would y'all do it for a movie or a show or something?
No, we allow their filming for documentary purposes, for artistic photography purposes, but never for horror or filming for horror movies or anything like that. So.
But eventually, if we're ever to get a church like we want, they're not going to be available for that because they'll become permanent fixtures in the church.
Yeah, so the name of our company is the OSUARY Inc. And we took the name from the word ossuary, which means box of bones, essentially. But when we think of ossuaries, a lot of people think of churches in other countries that have existed for hundreds, if not thousands of years, that contain human bones, generally from monks or parishioners over time. And they will line the inside of the church with bones of these people and monks from the past. We don't have anything like that here in the U.S. We have desecration of corpse laws that keep you from taking people's bodies and defleshing them and putting them in a church. You can't do that. However, I'm in a very unique situation where I have access to massive amounts of these old medical skeletons. They exist. They exist around the world by the hundreds of thousands, more than people even realize. I myself have access to thousands of them. So I figure I would like to get a Gothic-y revival style church and do the same thing here. Because I have access to so many of these skeletons that are prior medical specimens, why don't I take these specimens and put them in the church where they can have their final rest? They are done. I see in my mind, I envision this as such a bigger thing to the point that it would almost become a protected historic site here in the U.S. They're going to want to stick a plaque out in front of this place if I can achieve this and for the rest of time. And not only would it be one of the coolest things we've ever seen here in the U.S., it would also provide an alternative for people who may want to donate their body to science and just don't want to be cremated when they're done. If you donate your body to science and say you go to the body farm in Tennessee or something and they take your remains when they're done, send you to an anthropology classroom where they teach other people on, the articulation of bones and make you into these skeletons, which they do every day in medical schools around the U.S. If you've signed up, you'll be able to do this and then have your skeleton released to our company. And then we can put you in a cabinet like this and where you can continue to be used for arts, or if we have the church, that can be your final destination. There are so many people that don't want to go in the ground or don't want to be cremated. They would rather be used for scientific purposes and then be placed in a church where people can come and reflect on life and death, bond and matrimony, and continue to learn from them and see something for all of time.
All right, let me ask you, have you had anybody give you negative feedback, don't do it, or this is wrong what you doing, why are you doing this, you shouldn't be doing this, it's not right?
Negative feedback is very few and far between. Most people that learn about us and what we're doing absolutely love what we're doing. They see it as honorable and honestly one of the coolest things they've ever seen. There's very few places you can go and even see real human bones. And those places that do have them, they're not going to let you take photos. They're not going to let you hold them. They're not going to really allow you to continue to learn from them unless you yourself are a doctor or something and have some backdoor connections where you can say, hey, I need to, take this and look at it somewhere. You just can't do it. Here we're trying to change that. We want them to go back to their intended purpose.
So You don't know how none of them passed away. One of these specimens that you had on.
No.
So as I look around, I see you got a specimen laying in a case, in a clear case, sequel case. Tell us about him or her.
That's her. That's Lucy. She's very, or excuse
That's
me.
Eve.
That's Eve. I'm
Eve.
sorry. Yes.
Mhm.
Lucy is.
Just to remind everybody.
Yeah.
Real.
Lucy's actually the one that's hanging up here.
They are real.
Eve
Eve is our old.
Eve is our oldest. Eve is from the late 1700s, early 1800s. She's very unique compared to all the other ones. Every piece of hardware on her is a handmade turned screw. Every nut and bolt was done by hand. Yeah. And that's why she gets the special glass case that doesn't open from any side. Anybody can reach in and touch her. If
We
it
need to
wasn't,
eventually change those light bulbs out. She's under black light
Yeah.
right now, but technically her bones aren't like any of the other ones where they're white or were once white before they got dirty. Hers is very leathery brown looking from the way that they processed it back then. They processed them different. The later they realized.
So how do they process specimens? How do they really,
well, back then they used to basically hot water, macerate them in hot water, and which left a lot of
basically just boil them?
Yeah.
and took the flesh off, pulled the bones out, and then re-articulated them. And when you do it that way, it leaves a lot of oil and stuff in your bones that leaches out over time, which is what causes that brown patina that's all over the bone. In modern or more modern skeletons, they did other processes, bleaching methods and stuff like that to bleach and whiten the bones and draw the oils and stuff out, which is why skeleton bones, which you think of in the modern terms, are kind of white looking. Over time, they'll still get a little bit more yellower, like the ones in the case over here, or this one in the front case.
Yeah, I see the one behind you, white.
Well, she was painted. So this skeleton here, this is Vanessa Cardui, which means the painted lady. And when she's actually our newest rescue, when she came to us, someone had painted her white. And unfortunately, I wanted to clean her up and get the white paint off of her, but if I did that, it was going to destroy the bone. The paint is the only thing holding her together.
Yeah, she's in rough shape.
Yeah. So I actually had some other ideas for her. Because she is complete, she's completely painted white. I turned her into a Santa Muerte effigy so that people who worship the Day of the Dead are able to come by and still pay respects to the dead in honor of our Hispanic friends that are following that religious sect. And in fact,
How old you said she is?
she's probably 100 years old. In fact, if I knew someone that did sugar skull style paintings and really wanted to, do a once in a lifetime opportunity artwork, this is probably the only skeleton I'm ever going to allow the sugar skull or any kind of painting done to whatsoever, only because she was already painted. I want to take her paint and make it beautiful. However, the requirements for that is it's going to have to be an authentic Hispanic person that does it, because I value traditional artwork.
Right.
And they're going to have to be good too. I don't want someone that doesn't know what they're doing. They're like, oh, well, I watched a TikTok video on someone doing it, and then you come paint all over my, I can't have that. So
do they have to be like on a donor type for them to be able to do this?
what do you mean?
So when you're a donor, you donate blood, or when you pass away, you donate your heart or your kidney or whatever. Is that basically the same thing?
Yes.
You have to register yourself?
Yes. So you have to donate yourself to science so that your organs, tissues, whatever, can continue to be used for its scientific and the advancement of medicine. At that point, the remains that are left over, you do have a little bit of say in what happens to those, and you can do that through your will. You can say you want your body to go to the body farm for that, or you can continue, it can go back to your family for cremation and disposition. You can have it just to go wherever in the world of science. I don't recommend that, but Some people do because they don't care.
Isn't there a girl out there that donated her dad to science and she got a skeleton back and she drives him around the country?
Yeah, there is a lady out there that her father was killed in a car wreck, I think. I don't remember how he passed now. But he donated his body to science, and he was articulated in a classroom and then given back to her, and she now travels around the United States with him.
Takes dads on trips.
Yeah.
Like the full body.
Yeah, his whole skeleton just like this.
I guess it's kind of. I mean, I guess you can look at it as if the same as if it was cremated, except they're not. They just bones.
Mm-hmm.
It was cremated. They'd be in dust form, be carried around.
And it's not even that you're in dust form, really. Even when they cremate you, you're still large chunks of bone. They have to take that bone and stick it in a grinder and grind you up into those little chunks that you think of as cremation. So it's not even that you're ashes. They put you in a bone grinder to do that. So yeah, this is, in fact, one of my skeletons, which would be this one. This is one of my travel skulls. She was processed through cremation as well, and her bone actually has some burn mark from where she was sitting in the retort.
That's just like I've never seen nothing like that as far as like a person, an actual skull like that, and just I mean I've seen fake ones, but not nothing real like that.
Oh, this is real.
This amazes me how it's just.
And
so, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So I wanted to switch it a little bit now. So, y'all got the specimens in your homes. Numerous of them. I'm looking around. Some of the cases, actually, basically, you say your living room table is a coffin.
Yeah,
and it's a skeleton in there right now.
There isn't.
Yes, there is.
So, how y'all feel spiritually having them there? Like, is it scary? I mean, will it bother y'all a little bit, or is it just
No, we worked in hospice for years and were desensitized to death. So the aspect of death doesn't bother us. That's just another chapter in a book, and a book doesn't close. The story's continuing to be written. It's your chapter that closed. So we're not bothered by death. And when we started doing this, we felt so good about what we were doing that it was what we were supposed to be doing. We were directed on this path. Like I said, I had a divine dream that was like, do this. And everything I've filed for since then, every piece of paperwork, it's all been approved, and everybody we've ever reached out to and explained what we were doing supports us 110%. So it's been an awesome journey the last 5 years. I've met so many cool people and have so many opportunities that pop up and so many more opportunities that are coming, and I really look forward to it. I do.
So, I mean, speaking for me, I would probably have a hard time with being home. I probably could be around it for a short period of time, but as far as touching them and sleeping with them in the same home, I think that's something that would have to go on. It probably take a while for that to.
Well, I won't lie. When we first brought them home, I got 8 of them, and I brought them home in a U-Haul truck. And here in my living room, right where we're sitting here doing this interview right now, I had 8 coffins stacked up in here with skeletons in them. And
that was kind of creepy.
It was kind of creepy. And every time I come down my stairs, I was like, yeah. And what did I get myself into? But, I had a mission, and I had to do this. So I began taking them out of the coffins and cleaning them up. And like I said, a few went into cases. Some were just damaged beyond repair, and we had to take them to my family cemetery and get rid of them.
So you have a family cemetery?
Yeah. And then 1 or 2 come along here and there. And we went to get 2 of them, and one of them was fake. And it sucks because I wanted to keep the fake one. It was paper mache, and it was very well done paper mache.
How you know it was fake?
When I took it up, the paper broke, and you could see the newspaper stuff inside of it.
Wow.
That, and you know, like the nose wasn't right. You know, you.
Yeah, so how do you tell, like, from a fake? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's different material. All skeletons are not made the same by the same material, like fake skeletons.
Mhm.
So how can you tell, like, be sure, like, this is a real skeleton? Like, what's the...
Well, it's pretty obvious when you've been around them as long as we have. You can definitely tell the difference between real bone and fake. It's very telling when you put the two next to each other. And I don't have anything fake, or I would show something fake. But yeah, I mean, other than the fact you can pretty much tell just from the feel and texture of it. There's other giveaways like the teeth and stuff, you know, that are
Fake
all
ones.
real.
There's always something off. The toes of the real ones they're not perfect. There's issues there. You can tell.
Yeah, and
Fake ones, you can tell it's too perfect. Yeah.
real human bone, like she said, it's all different. Every single one of them. If I took one bone and compared it to the identical bone on another one, there's going to be variations, like noticeable variations, other than just size and diameter. There's going to be lines in the bone and basically sutures where bone have healed, you know, because they've been broken for. Any of that, man, little knots, and some of them have cancers that they've developed over time, where they have osteoporosis or other kind of bone issues where it's caused degeneration, and it's very noticeable where plastic's just plastic.
So, are y'all going to donate yourselves? You think y'all donate yourself for?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're hoping for, like I said, we wanted the Gothic-y church that we had all the bones in.
Mm-hmm.
We actually wanted to be centerpieces in our church in the lover skeleton poses. We wanted to donate our bodies to science and be articulated just like these skeletons, and then put into the lover's embrace as a centerpiece of the church.
Or your own church?
Mm-hmm. I mean, the organization is going to carry on even after we're gone.
Yeah.
We have a board of directors and people that make decisions on what we do with these bones and what we're going to allow. And
are y'all having any hiccups with accomplishing the church?
it really comes down to finances. Everything we do here is funded out of our own pocket. Everything we do. When we rent a vehicle, we get gas, everything we pay for. Unfortunately, it's just skeletons, so the cost is more or less our retrieving them, or the cost of buying a cabinet to put them in, and materials for repairs, but they don't require food, so I don't have to worry about feeding them or anything other than some cleaning supplies and getting them situated. So it's something we've been able to pay for out of our own pocket. And there are people that do donate to us because we are a nonprofit, and it is a tax write-off if you donate to us. It isn't much. I guarantee you I fall well under my $50,000 a year threshold. I don't even hit 10% of that. But when we get money for outside donations, we only use that for things to keep the company going, like buying like this black case that I keep the skulls in. You know, that cost me $110, I think. And it's nice that people have donated to us, and I was able to buy that with company money and not out of my own pocket, because, you know, that's money I'm able to use for my electric bill.
Right.
You know, I got bills like everybody else, and I'm not rich. You know, I'm just like everyone else.
The truth of the money is most of the money that gets donated to us, we end up in turn donating it back to other people.
any money that we have left over at the end of the year is all given back to other charitable organizations. We keep nothing.
Just went on a shopping spree for Toys for Tots.
I just did a Toys for Tots shopping spree and bought 3 huge bags of toys and went and dropped them off to Toys for Tots, and that was all paid for by our nonprofit organization. We keep nothing for ourselves because we don't need it. We're not doing this because we need money. So 100% of our funding that's left over after getting any little thing the skeletons need all goes back to the community. Every penny.
Yes, they keep on getting.
Yep.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm privileged to have a 501c3 nonprofit that I'm able to work with in the community. And if you're on our webpage, it even says right at the top, restore, educate, preserve community. I'm privileged to have the opportunity to do this. And like I said, other than getting gas and stuff like that, I'm not here for the money. I'm not doing this because I need money. I'm doing this because I care what happens to our prior brothers and sisters that's sitting in storage. This is what I care about. I don't care about the funds. You know, we got jobs. We don't need this for the money. So when the money's there, the community can have that back. You know, if we see something that needs help or needs a few bucks thrown towards it, the company swipe its card. Here you go. We've donated everything from the Special Olympics to school fundraisers to, like I said, we just Toys for Tots, who also is one of our people. You see, we have a Toys for Tots box, so people can drop toys off for us. All that stuff goes back to them. You know, if it's involving the community, we want to see it happen. We only got one life, man. If we don't make it the best, what are we even doing?
What we doing, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate you talking to me, talking to my followers. Like I said, I never heard of it until now. I didn't know this was, people do. I didn't even know it was allowed. I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
I had a special to see hours, and I didn't.
Well,
Every state except for 3.
Louisiana, Tennessee, and Georgia don't allow you to do it unless you do it in state. And it has to be with specimens that were done in state, and you have to have a medical license in some of them. A lot of it's like that. And technically, we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for Sonya's medical license. When we asked the federal government to grant us nonprofit status for rescuing medical specimens, it was under the pretense that we were doing this under her medical license and my ministry license, which I'm licensed by Delaware for ministry. So, like I said, I want to do weddings and stuff in my Gothic church with my skeletons. I want to do all that, and I want to raise money so I can give that money back to the community too. You know,
Gift that keep on going.
I don't stop. I don't stop. I sit on the board of directors for Choose Joy. We help victims after house fires. I do everything in my community, man. Someone has to, and I have the free time, so I do.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. We need more people like that. I'm kind of, not to kind of go, on top of it a little bit, but I'm looking at something on top of this China closet right here. What is that a bone up there?
There's all kinds of bones over there.
What's the bone that's on top of the China closet?
The white one?
The white one.
That's a bull skull.
A bull skull.
Yeah.
On the other side of them, there's a goat.
Yeah.
I don't think you can see it from where you're seeing. Where
And
you're
that's
sitting.
moose antlers above the door.
So y'all not only have humans.
Oh yeah, we tons of animals as you see. Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my.
The beaver and coyote.
Coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely got some company in here.
Yeah, and they go all up the stairwell hallway. There's skunks and raccoons and
Foxes.
Yeah.
Cow. I have an entire cow skin carpet. It's hanging on the wall up my stairs.
Cow skin.
And, yeah.
yeah.
That's a sight. I know that's a sight.
It would be here if it wasn't for the dogs.
Yeah,
I didn't want it to get ruined.
Didn't want our dogs to ruin it.
Speaking of dogs, how they act around the bones?
They don't seem to notice them.
Well,
They don't bother
they
them.
notice them. They
Lick
don't.
them, sniff them, try to
Nothing.
on them.
They don't want nothing to do with them.
Mm-mm.
They leave them 100% alone.
Well, they say dogs can hear, if you walk a dog past the graveyard, you can hear even hear or something like that.
They say
Well, my theory is
That's what
this.
they say. That's the thing.
Dogs have like 20,000 times the scent power that humans do, and they can smell things such as death and everything else. You know, they can smell bodies that are buried under the ground. That's why cops use them to search out cadavers and stuff like that.
The damn dogs.
Yes. And I believe fully that my dogs know full well that those are human bones and smell that they're human bones. And just like they wouldn't come eat you or chew on you, they will not touch my bones.
I was more worried about my taxidermy ducks on the stairs, which they haven't touched either.
They don't touch anything in this house that's dead. They don't mind it. They just ignore it all.
So what's the story behind these photos on the wall?
Those are our instant ancestors.
I don't know any of them.
We don't know any of them.
Instant ancestors
Yeah.
meaning like with that.
We just pick them up in stores and antique shops. They're not our ancestors. They're random people.
Okay, that's why I was wondering.
Yes,
what they
there's
like,
one picture up there that is one of my CNAs at work. It was her great, I don't know how many greats grandparents. She didn't have a place for the picture and asked me if I wanted it. I said, of course. So other than that, I have no idea who any of them are.
Well, a lot of people have photos of like their great grandparents or whatever that have been passed down through the family. We don't have anything like that. So we go to the stores, and when we find them, bam, instantly we have ancestors.
Got instant ancestors.
I would love to have like ancestor photos.
Aren't they beautiful?
My ancestors, you know.
And that most of them, back then, none of them were smiling because you were considered crazy if you smiled in a photograph.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
See,
Yeah,
see?
uh-huh.
So
That's why nobody smiled in pictures
so
back
where
in the
they got
day.
The cheese face from and all that. Say cheese,
That's
cheese,
come
cheese.
later in life because back in the day, yep, nobody smiled. Nobody did.
Wow.
They all wanted to look.
That's why all
Serious.
those pictures look so. They look
Yes.
so like they just
Yes.
sick of it.
They didn't want you to think they were crazy. Yes.
Look crazy with them still faces.
Exactly.
Back in the Victorian times, you used to be able to buy a human skeleton
Mhm.
out of a catalog and have it sent to your house because it used to be considered prestigious
Yeah.
to own something like that. And this is why you'll see a lot of paintings and photographs from a long time ago where people will be sitting in a library or something with their books, and they'll have a skull sitting with them in their photo or something because it was meant to symbolize that you were educated. That fell out of style about the turn of the century, and the religious movement, and we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that, we shouldn't drink, smoke, have dead things.
What's the youngest specimen you had?
The one that's in this coffee table. Oh, you mean youngest like how old was it when it passed away? Or
Youngest.
that would be Mini-Me. Mini-Me is in the cabinet over there where that tall skeleton is. That's a 36-week fetal skeleton over there on a stand next to that one.
36 weeks.
Yes.
Wow.
He's about that.
Fetus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
With the smallest nuts and bolts you've ever seen holding a skeleton together.
A lot of these is hand, they did it by hand. And
Oh yeah, all articulated skeletons are done by hand. It's not like they can put you in a machine and the machine puts you together. You know, they're all done by hand. Everything. It's essentially artwork all in itself. When you think about it, the creativity of taking all these human bones and reassembling them like a puzzle, and crafting them and cutting them and rewiring them, it's literally a work in itself. It's art.
unbelievable.
In fact, my insurance company, State Farm, is who insures these, has them insured as art.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was an interesting feat in itself there, approaching our insurance company about insuring skeletons. And she's like, oh, like taxidermy. And I'm like, the taxidermy I'm not near as worried about as I am the skeletons. No, human skeletons. And she's like, oh, like Halloween stuff. And I said, no, like real human skeletons. And she's like, huh? And then I started showing her pictures, and she's like, I don't know. I'm going to have to call an underwriter about this.
That's different. Not saying we'll get that every day.
Yeah, and you know, they got the underwriter on the phone with us, and he was talking. I was explaining what we do, and he's like, "Huh." He's like, "Yeah, we can insure that. Well, yeah, we can do that." He said, "But I think we have to write this policy as like artwork, like we would if you had a painting or you know any of you see my fancy vases and stuff. You know, any of that stuff. It has to be insured in the same manner we would do that. You take a detailed photograph of each one when you get them and submit it to the company so we can add it to your file." I was like, "All right, any of the ones I keep, I'll get photographed and added to my file."
Well, I appreciate you talking to us, talking to our followers, explaining what it is that y'all do. Like I said, it's new to me, and I'm pretty sure it's new to a lot of people out there that's watching. If they wanted to come see it for themselves, what's the procedure to come seeing it for themselves?
So the easiest way to do it is to just go to our website, which is www.OSSUARY.org, OSSUARY.org. You can go there, click on the little 3-button thing on the top right for the menu. You can read about us. You can read about our OSSUARY project. You can donate to us through PayPal. You can order our t-shirts from our company. It's the only thing we sell is t-shirts. 100% of that funding goes back to the company and donating to the youth. You can contact us on there. There's a contact section. Say, hey, you want to come visit? We only schedule appointments for the evening time because we're night shift people. Sonya works overnight. She doesn't even get to bed till 7 o'clock. Well, she doesn't get off work till 7 o'clock in the morning, then has to give a report. She doesn't even get to bed till 9 a.m. So she has to still get her beauty sleep, or I'm going to have an angry wife that's not going to tolerate that. So we always do schedule for after 6 p.m.-ish, generally any day of the week. And we'll figure something out that works best. We do a couple open houses during the year, always on Halloween night. We always do an open house on Halloween night with food trucks. We give out massive amounts of candy, and we allow 21 up area access where we have a bonfire and stuff. You have to be 21 that comes stand out by the fire. We allow a little smoking because that's legal now. Have you a drink, whatever, but it's away from the kids. Just be a responsible adult, you know, because there are kids up and down the roads. Like I said, food trucks, the whole 9 yards. Definitely make it for a Halloween night because it goes on half of the night. It's the town even gives us a license for it, so it's 100% legit, block party style. Come have a good time. Yeah, absolutely. Every year we've been doing it for years. Never once had a problem. The chief of police himself signs off on our application for it. You know, it's a good time. It really is.
I
And
want to know that before this class Halloween. Why would he come and check y'all out?
oh, it was a good time. Really good time.
Some really good tacos too.
Yeah, good street food, man. Everything is community oriented here. And remember, at the ossuary, everything you see here, what we are now, they once were, and what they are now, one day we will be. You have one life. Make it the best. At the ossuary, we do not discriminate. We don't care about color, creed, religion. We don't care about any of that. Come through, learn something, make a friend, have a good time, enjoy yourself, and reflect on life, because this is your future. And you don't know when that time's coming. So check us out. Our website's OSSUARY.org. Support this man's video channel because he's out here trying to bring people like us to light so that you can learn about the interesting things in the community and the things that affect your life, good and bad.
Also, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you for coming out here and shooting a video with us and our crazy little collection.
Hey, no problem. Interesting, very interesting. And so about other people. Want to know. So nice meeting y'all, and I'm pretty sure they're probably gonna have some guests in the future.
Yeah.
They're gonna want to see what's going on.
We're here 24/7, 365. The only time we're not around is whenever we do a yearly pilgrimage because we take in cremains and stuff. And this is something that should be noted. We will scatter cremains for people that have them that don't want to keep them anymore. But we also rescue them, like if they're wards of the state or something, and the state's cremated them, and they don't, or a funeral home is closed down and cremains were left behind, we will take every single bit of it. We will come clean them up. We'll get it out of there at zero cost. We don't want anything. And when we make our yearly pilgrimage, we take those cremains with us and scatter them in the mountains in my family cemetery that's been in my family for over 100 years, man. And we want to make sure everybody has that final respect. You know, everybody, no matter who you are, no matter what your course has been in life, you've given something while you were here. Let us give you a little something back, you know, and make sure that your journey on the other side, the Rainbow Bridge or whatever, was done respectfully. No more storage rooms.